Hello and welcome to Steven University. This week we are discussing Lion 2, the movie. An episode in which, I don't know, how do I describe it? Steven wants to go see a film and Lion just does his own thing. I mean, how else would you describe this episode?
I think that's fair.
Yeah, so he wants to go see Dogcopter 3, the Doggening or whatever it's called. I don't remember. Although I would pay a lot of money to see a film with the title The Doggening.
I think it's Dogcopter 3 in 3D.
There you go. And his mode of transportation, him and Connie are going to go see Dogcopter in was Lion, but of course Steven has pretty much no control over what Lion does, and Lion takes them to what seems to be an armory of Rose Quartz's, his mother's, that he has some mild control over. And it all goes a bit awry when he just says, I just want to see explosions and stuff, referring to Dogcopter. And you can imagine that Rose's armory responds in a very specific way to that. And then him and Connie have to sort of get out of it. One of the themes of the episode, obviously, is Connie feeling a little bit like she doesn't understand how Steven's her friend because she seems boring in comparison to him. I mean, as always, Chris, I've got to know, what do you think?
Well, now I'm thinking that either I've missed something or you've potentially inadvertently dropped a little spoiler because I had no idea it was Rose's armory.
Did you not put that together?
No. Oh, well, because I didn't really know why and where Lion had taken them. But I suppose if he's taken them to, like, some gem place and Steven has access to it, it would make sense that it would be connected to his mum.
Well, when he puts his hand on the pillar, the plinth thing, it has the symbol. It has the symbol on it that is from his shield.
No, I didn't see that. I like I said, I got that he was connected to it and could control it, but I didn't. I just assumed that was some gem shit. I didn't realise it was specific Rose gem shit.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose to be fair, it's like they didn't really 100% confirm that, so maybe that is mildly spoilery. I mean, for me though, I mean, it's one of those things where the plinth thing kind of gives it away, but doesn't 100% confirm it. So yeah, you could argue. You could argue pre-knowledge there. So apologies if any of our listeners think I've given away too much there. Sorry. I don't feel like I have though. I don't feel like I have. I feel like you could have worked that out on your own.
Yeah, I feel like it's maybe more my lack of observation than your, and which is weird because for scheduling mix-up purposes, I've seen this twice. So you'd think I'd have noticed it at one point, but I really didn't. I thought I loved the Steve and Connie stuff. I loved seeing their relationship blossom and getting some time on their relationship. Big fan of that. I thought the animation was great. I thought it had some really nice moments of humour. I like that they're doing more stories at the moment where Steven sorts the problem out himself, or with, like, yes, Connie helped him, and actually the resolution went back to her tennis thing, but it was still them two sorting it out themselves and not having to call on the gems. So really like that stuff. But it was weird because without knowing more details about Lion and how and why he took them there, the whole thing just feels a bit... I feel like I'll understand the point of that more later than I do now. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. But there was enough character stuff and cool stuff in it for me to be like, oh, again, though, Steven's a bit dim. Like, it's pretty obvious he's controlling it, and perhaps he shouldn't say he just wants to see explosions. You'd think one of the two of them would work that shit out.
That's fair.
And I'm confused by Lion because he found Lion, but Lion seems to be intrinsically linked with Steven, or I don't know. So... But he found him, so that's intriguing. Yeah, that's it, and that's me in summary.
I think you hit on something interesting. Lion is an interesting character because you were talking about you weren't sure why Lion took him to where he took him. I can't remember the exact phrasing, and I might be wrong here. But do you recall how Steven got Lion to finally move? what he said that prompted Lion to finally, because there's the joke that they're sat on Lion's back and he's like, take us to the cinema, and the Lion does nothing. Take us to the movies. Nope, like it just doesn't do anything. And then I think, and I could be wrong here because I didn't see this immediately before recording this week. I saw it last night. Because when my girlfriend found out we were watching the episode with Dogcopter, she wanted to watch it with me, and I knew she wouldn't be awake in time for us to watch it this morning, so I watched it last night. But I'm fairly sure what the Lion finally reacts to is Stephen saying something akin to, take me where I want to go.
Oh, okay, so it's like a link to his soul.
So it's like, so Lion took that, not literally and sort of practically and in the moment of, oh, you want to go to the movies. He took that as, in life, like you've got this sort of gem destiny or whatever. You're sort of linked to this sort of this gem that's kind of a little bit revered. They often talk very fondly of Rose Quarters, and he took him to get a little bit of his mother. Like Lion knew that's what he needed in the long run, rather than in that moment. Maybe that's if I'm remembering the phrasing correctly.
What does he say? Does he say something to help him finally take them out and take them back to the cinema then?
That's a great question.
I can't remember.
No, I can't either. I wish I had I wonder if is there a transcript online that I can quickly find to just double check myself. I thought,
and I did notice that like Lion's eyes went white and stuff when he was actually listening and actually helping Stephen.
Yeah, well, they went white right at the end before he gave him the sword too. Which, I mean, should we talk about the sword for a second? That's I mean, if
cool.
You're looking at the design of the sword, it does very much match Stephen's shield. Mm. So you can also assume the sword has a connection to Rose Quartz.
I loved the use of the shield and the use of Garnet. Is it Garnet that transforms? Yeah.
No, Amethyst.
No, Amethyst.
When she became Dogcopter.
Trouble is, I can't say Amethyst. The purple one.
Purple.
I loved the use of like just dropping in. Like her transforming in his shield, like just dropping it in, just not making big deals, just making it part of the fabric of the show. Like, very rarely in shows like this, the temptation would be for the next 5 times that he uses the shield to make it a he's got a shield, remember moment. But it's just very casually like, oh, here you go, here's a bit of this. I enjoyed that.
Any thoughts as to Lion producing what seems to be Rose's sword from his head?
I think Rose killed Lion via sword to the head. He's just retrieving it. No. Maybe. I don't know, because Lion essentially Gryffindor's hat, but or the house, whatever that thing's called in Harry, the Sorting Hat. That's what I'm looking for. Is he the Sorting Hat in Harry Potter? Which doesn't feel like a deep, well thought out theory, but it, based on the evidence, seems relatively logical.
I've just looked up the transcript. So I remembered it slightly incorrectly. What Stephen finally says that gets Lion to move, and if you think about it, this is kind of amazing. This is actually even more clever than I gave it credit for. So Stephen says, Lion, I want you to take us to the movie. He waits a few seconds, no reaction. Okay, you're not listening to me. Again, he looks around. Lion, and then he turns to Connie and he goes, Lion isn't trained very well. But I'm not trained very well either, so and then Lion boots it. So he's mentioned he's not trained very well, and Lion immediately takes him to the armory.
Okay, yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Because that's a really.
And what does he say when he produces the sword?
That's what I'm just looking for now. I'm looking at what he says when he produces the sword, and I want to see what he says when he takes him back to the movies to see if they've thought that through just as well. Let's have a look.
It's like he's connected to what he really, really needs. What he really needs is training, not the cinema. The only thing I don't quite like about that is I think he needs time with Connie as well. One of my favourite things in this episode is the way Steven's like, no, it's not about gem shit. Like, it's when, like, no, you can't share the food. This is for me and her. I'm genuinely excited about Dogcopter and that really sweet moment at the end where she's like, why are you hanging out with me? And he's like, why are you hanging out with me? Like, it's a really sweet, natured, tender relationship.
It's worth adding, I think, that in this case, we have, like, a slightly more subtle Connie story, because we both pointed out that in Bubble Buddies, the episode we first meet Connie, it's very on the nose how much she doesn't have friends and wants friends, and like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's really hammered home in that episode. What I love here is that the story is a little bit more subtle. Connie's just sort of like, she's not immediately sort of saying very obviously that she feels a little bit intimidated by Steven's magical gem destiny, or however she phrased it. So I thought that was quite nicely done, because it wasn't quite as straightforward as the previous one. And then when it all comes out at the end, it all makes sort of sense based on what we'd seen. So I liked that. I've just looked at what he says, by the way. So he has the bubble. The robot thing blows up his bubble. He gasps as he noticed Lion's just walked over, and he literally just says, "Lion, get us out of here, Lion, please." And then it happens. So that one is less. That is very direct, and Lion responds.
But it's very personal. Lion, please. Like, he's really not begging. Do you know what I mean? It's very much a personal plea for help.
Yeah, rather than a selfish.
Maybe that's the connection.
And I do love that the joke that follows then is they end up at the movies and he's like, "What? Now you take us to the movies?" In a weird way, you could look at that as him. You could look at that as Lion responding to the Connie thing. Then maybe now what he needs is to have that moment with Connie.
Yeah, true.
Maybe.
I like the ongoing gag of, why don't you tell me you can do these things?
Yes, that's a brilliant gag in this episode.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Oh, here you go. So when Lion produces the sword, he literally says, "How are we supposed to beat it? What do we do?" And Lion's eyes glow white, leans down, and out comes the sword. So again, relatively direct, not as subtle as the first one, the training one, but still, request to Lion, Lion responds. It's very interesting. So I think on the whole, you like this one? Because I'm a big fan of this episode. I love this episode. I think it's got a good balance of everything. Like, it's got a really nice little bit of heart. His relationship with Connie is really sweet. It's also got a little bit of action, which is great. It's got some of those spectacular visuals. I mean, the moment Lion starts going on the water, which is another one of those, I didn't know you could do that moments. When Lion's running along the water, that's like one of the most sort of beautiful images that the show can produce. Like, that is staggeringly well drawn and shot and like animated and designed. It's beautiful on so many levels. I love that shot. In fact, I made sure I used that shot in my in the video I did as well that I mentioned previously, the Why You Should Be Watching Steven Universe video. And then on top of that, it's obviously very funny. So it's got a bit of everything, and it's got a little bit of the mythology, because it has this hint of Rose and her background. So I mean, this episode of the show has a little bit of everything that makes this show great, and I think that's like kind of remarkable, because the things that make this show great, there's so many of them, and each episode doesn't always get to do all of them. Some episodes are just quite funny because it's a 10-minute show. Some episodes are very action packed. Some episodes give us a deep mythology look. Then they all give us little bits of the others, but this one is like truly balanced, like genuinely very balanced. So I really, really like this one. And I think that it's...
I agree. Sorry, you go.
No, go on.
I agree. I think I completely agree. I think my personal... And it's that thing of sometimes there's a difference between your favourite and the best. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes, maybe not for people that don't analyse stuff all the time, but I think sometimes you it's like with a band, your favourite song might be the song that you have a personal connection to, or it's just got a lyric that you love or something like that, but you can appreciate that like their best song is probably something else.
So, for example, in this case, I'm guessing that you acknowledge this is a very good episode, but we all know your favourite is Catfingers. Is that?
Don't.
I'm just gonna leave that there.
How many times do we have to do this?
Until I get bored, basically.
How many times do you have to name that fucking episode? What I was profoundly saying before you shat all over it was that for me, yes, I agree, it's probably one of the best for the reasons you outlined. Personally, it's not one of my favourites because I think I prefer either a whole lot of funny, a whole lot of action, or a whole lot of heart. I think that I completely agree with you, but I was left a little bit like, I don't understand why they're doing this. But I did go, there were some funny lines, but I think there were funnier episodes. There were some great visuals, but there were episodes with like funnier episodes, Stephen and the Cool Kids, episodes with stronger visions. Lion's first episode was visually stunning.
Yes.
I agree with you about the water shot, but I think, shot for shot, there was more visual wonder in Lion's first episode. I'm not criticizing. I'm merely saying I agree with you. It's one of the best, but it's probably, if you're asking about my personal opinion, it's up there, and they've done a lot worse, but it's not necessarily a favourite.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. I think you're right, because there's that old saying, isn't there? Jack of all trades, master of none. So in an episode when they try to truly balance it, they do a bit of everything, which is great. The question then becomes like, are you then like not reaching? You're limiting yourself to what height you can reach on each of those things. Does that make sense? The more, if you've only got 10 minutes and 10 minutes is your capacity to entertain me, each minute or second spent doing something is taking from something else. Therefore, overall, it's not possible really to be the funniest episode or the most heartfelt episode or the most mythologically sort of like sort of a tantalizing episode or the best visuals or whatever. And so that makes I totally agree with what you're saying. I just think it's remarkable that it worked at all because if you told me that there was an episode of a show that is 10 minutes long that would achieve as much as this one does, it would blow my mind. But you are correct in saying there are funnier episodes, there are more heartfelt episodes, there are more mythology-based episodes that do a lot more to tell us what's going on. So I totally see both sides of that coin and would agree.
And it's all personal. It's like Doctor Who's an interesting one because I'm aware we're wrapping up, but like I've fallen a week behind on Doctor Who because the last episode, from the vantage point of us recording this, we record these in advance. The last episode of Doctor Who was a historical episode, and I'm never overly big on the historical episodes, so I just haven't watched it. But if it was an episode like Midnight or an episode like Listen, where it was doing something really kooky and different, or it was an episode where like we delved into Pearl's past or something like that, or a mythology based episode, if you were to text me and be like, oh, we like from the point of us recording this, the series of Doctor Who airing has this big mystery of what's in the vault. And if you were to say to me, oh, they go to the vault and open it, I'd be like, oh, fuck, stop what I'm doing, I'll watch the episode. Because I'm not overly personally invested in the historical episodes, I just haven't seen it yet. Whereas some people will love the historical episodes and will rush to them. So, yeah.
I mean, not to go topic, but that I've seen that episode. It's pretty good. It's not bad. So...
Yeah, I will watch it. Yeah.
Well, you'll have to.
It's really weird because
there's a new episode airing tonight.
I loved the pilot of this series, the first episode, the pilot, and I just haven't really overly rushed to any of the others. And it's weird because people have been like, "Oh, do you not like Bill?" And I'm like, "No, really like everything." Just yeah.
Well, so yeah, I think then we've established a pretty damn good episode, pretty good episode. Some interesting potential for the overall,
most definitely,
because again, like, the Lion is intentionally designed as a very mysterious figure, And they've done a brilliant job characterizing Lion, because like you can you like it's forced us to sort of like really analyze Lion's actions, you know, and his choices, like in a way that like if you know you would never imagine us needing to do when you actually like get a sense of what that character is like, because it just feels like Lion does whatever Lion wants. But when you look at the context of the scenes in which Lion does certain stuff, it's very interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I'm looking at can I just say I'm looking at the transcript here, and like when they go to the armory, it literally is like, you know, interior Rose's armory. So I don't know if that's just it was assumed at the time, or if that's something that they've added post the finding out that's what it is, or if I've just really spoiled it. So I hope I haven't.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry.
No. Anyway, so
Okay.
that is everything for this week. A little bit overrun, but fine. We got some interesting chat about what exactly did Stephen say in order to make Lion get off his arse. So I think we'll call it that's everything for this week. We'll be back, I'm sure, next week to discuss Beach Party.
This isn't relevant, but I left some DVDs at a friend's at New Year's, and they've just returned them, and I'm really excited to watch Die Hard again.
That's a great film.
Great film. And then I can watch the sequels, which everyone tells me are crap, but I'm going to watch them.
Well, the second one's not great. Third one's pretty good.
Fourth one's got Kevin Smith in, isn't it?
Fourth one's watchable. I think that's the one with Kevin Smith in it, the fourth one.
Yeah.
And then the fifth one is dog shit, if memory serves.
Dog Cops is shit.
You know how we said we'd end these awkwardly?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. We're not, you know, this isn't awkward at all, Chris. This is how we chat when we're off mic.
Awkward if you don't like Die Hard.
It's awkward if you don't like Doctor Who.
That's true. Awkward if you don't like Steven University. What the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, if you don't like Steven Universe, what are you doing? Go away.
Yeah, Steven Universe.